When I returned from my work trip, I never imagined I would find my world upended. The locks on my front door had been changed, and through the living room window, I saw my wife, Sarah, curled up against another man, wrapped in a blanket that once belonged to us. I didn't storm in. I didn't shout or pound on the door. I simply stood there, my suitcase in hand, feeling a strange detachment settle over me. My phone buzzed, and I glanced down to see a message from Sarah. I found someone better. Don't make a scene. Just leave. The words hit with a force I hadn't expected, like a punch to the gut that left me breathless. 5 years of marriage, of shared dreams and whispered promises, dismissed in a single text. I looked up, watching her through the glass as she smirked at her phone before leaning into him, laughing at something he whispered in her ear. The sight burned, a cruel branding of betrayal etched into my mind. For a brief moment, fury coiled inside me, urging me to demand answers, to reclaim what was mine. But then something stronger took its place, clarity. Without a word, I turned, walked back to my car, and drove away. What she had never bothered to learn, never cared to ask, was that the house was mine. I had bought it before we were married. Her name was never on the deed, never on the mortgage. She had never invested in it beyond choosing the decor, basking in the comfort of a home she believed she had rights to simply because she had lived in it. I checked into a small motel on the outskirts of town, a far cry from the warmth of my own home. The room was dingy, the carpet stained, the air thick with the scent of old cigarette smoke. But for now, it was mine, a place to breathe and think. Lying on the stiff mattress, I stared at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our marriage, trying to pinpoint when things had shifted, when love had decayed into indifference, then treachery. By morning, I had made my decision. I called my lawyer, Tom, a sharp, no-nonsense man who had been a family friend for years. When I explained the situation, he let out a low whistle. "She changed the locks while you were away?" he asked, incredulous. "Yeah," I confirmed. "And she's already moved someone else in." "Well," he said, his voice laced with something close to amusement. "The good news is, she has no legal claim to that house. If you want, we can have the police escort her out, but let's play this smart." That word resonated with me, smart. My emotions clamored for release, demanding confrontation, but I swallowed them down. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me broken. I would reclaim my home with dignity and precision. Over the next 2 days, I gathered all necessary documents while Tom handled the legal filings. Each night, I lay awake in that miserable motel bed, haunted by the image of them together in my house. But I held on to one thought: this wasn't over. On the 3rd day, I returned, not alone this time. I had a locksmith and a police officer with me, ensuring everything remained above board. When Sarah opened the door, her face twisted in shock. Behind her, the man who had taken my place stood shirtless, his confidence crumbling as he caught sight of the officer beside me. "What is this?" Sarah demanded, her voice edged with panic. I didn't waste words. I handed her the legal documents. "You need to leave," I said calmly. "This is my house. You have no right to be here." She turned to the officer, searching for support, but he merely nodded. "He's right, ma'am. You need to vacate the premises." Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt nothing. Her betrayal had drained me of sympathy. Silently, she packed her belongings, her lover helping her shove things into bags with a hurried urgency. They left without another word, and I watched them go, my heart strangely light. Stepping inside, I took a deep breath. The house felt different, silent, yet peaceful. My home was mine again, no longer tainted by deception. Days passed in a blur of legal formalities and quiet reflection. I felt anger, of course, but more than that, I felt the weight of betrayal in a way I never had before. She hadn't just cheated. She had tried to erase me, to discard me like an afterthought. But she had underestimated me. 3 days after she left, my phone rang. Her name flashed across the screen. For a moment, I considered letting it go to voicemail, but curiosity won. "Hello." My voice was neutral, controlled. The woman on the other end wasn't the smug, confident Sarah who had texted me days before. This voice was shaking, frantic, edged with desperation. "Please," she pleaded. "You need to talk to them. They're throwing me out." I took a slow breath, my grip on the phone tightening. "This is my house, Sarah," I said, my voice steady. "You made your choice. I made mine." A pause. Then a broken whisper. "It was a mistake. He's gone, okay? He left. I need you to stop this. I need you." So her someone better had proven to be anything but. When he saw the eviction notice and realized the mess he had stepped into, he had packed his bags and disappeared. He had no interest in sticking around for the consequences. And now, Sarah was alone, desperately clinging to what she had so carelessly thrown away. I closed my eyes, letting her words wash over me, but they no longer held power. The ache that had haunted me was gone, replaced by something stronger. Clarity. "I'm sorry, Sarah," I said, and I meant it. "But this is over. There's nothing left to talk about." Her voice cracked. "Please, can we meet? Just to talk. I made a mistake. We can fix this." But I had already made up my mind. "I wish you well, Sarah. But my life is moving forward without you." And with that, I hung up. The eviction went through. She moved out with what little she had left, and I later heard she was sleeping on a distant relative's couch. Her lover had vanished as quickly as he had appeared. And me? I reclaimed my life. My home. My peace. Sometimes the best revenge isn't anger. It's moving on, head held high, knowing you never needed someone willing to throw you away. As I stood in my living room, watching the sunset cast golden hues over the neighborhood, I smiled. She had thought she found someone better. But I had found something even more valuable myself.